Gerard, thank you for coming out today. Appreciate everything. This beautiful South Florida day. Brother from another mother for over 7 years, I guess you'd say.
No doubt, no doubt.
Didn't think you'd be in this position of what you're, saying to everyone out there. You're doing a phenomenal job.
Thanks, brother.
Break it down to us, man. Stand Up Now Apparel. I mean, that's bold. Bring it to us.
Yeah, man, that's what it's about. I think, so I appreciate that, man. We've known each other for a while, like you said. Awesome to know you. Glad
Yeah,
to
man.
be here. Yeah, stand up now, man. I think that kind of says it in itself. I think now is the time more than ever. I don't think if we don't stand up now, there is another time.
Right.
So I think right now everybody's kind of afraid to say what they want to say, fear about being attacked.
Right.
How they're going to be treated, backlash,
Of course.
the masses, the media, the control. I think now's the time that if we just need to stand firm in our true beliefs and our American values and our faith and declare it.
Right.
And it talks about that, that we must be bold, strong,
Right.
and also in the right manner and speech. I think a lot of people today, they're just throwing garbage out there, man. And words are so powerful, man. We underestimate words, ourselves, our inner power. When we just spew out garbage. And that's kind of how this none of this started as in even thinking about making an apparel line. That's the
Right.
craziest thing about
Right.
it. So. You know me for a while. I mean, the shirt that you got on there. I remember when I first started this. Let me dial back. I'm trying to jump ahead. So, none of this started from wanting to make an apparel line.
Okay.
I had a family vacation trip planned to take my 4-year-old daughter that was turning 5, that was so excited to go to Disney World
Right.
for her 5th birthday, that we planned it. And being from South Florida, it's too hot to go in May when her birthday is.
Right.
I told my wife, I'm not going in May. I don't care how much I love my daughter. It's too hot to go to Disney World in May. So my wife planned the trip for the first week of April and picked a date at a random. So we're set to go. My daughter's all excited. We're going to leave March 30th, 3 days before we're set to leave for a week at Disney World. Disney World comes out and says they're going to sue the state of Florida over their quote-unquote don't say gay bill, right?
Right.
The Florida House bill that was passed.
Of course.
And, I think a lot of people might see this shirt that I'm wearing and they might think that it's an attack on transgenders or gays or LGBT community. It's not that.
Right.
It's not that at all. My half-brother growing up, he's transgender. That's his choice.
Right.
No problem.
Yep.
My college roommate, he's gay. That's his choice. No problem.
Right.
I got no problem with that. What bothered me the most is that Disney, a private company, was going to sue the Florida taxpayers, who we as taxpayers, as our duty, to elect and vote the people in our state that we see fit to withhold our values.
Interesting.
So by suing the state of Florida, they're identically suing us and against what we stand up for as individual people.
Right.
And I said, if Disney is going to use their platform, and they're big, man. Disney's
course.
huge. They own ESPN.
Right,
they're like
right.
Disney, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, it's Disney. And I said, you know what? If they're going to use their platform, then I got to use my God-given one, right? Because I can't cancel the trip. I can't do that to my daughter.
Not to your daughters.
I would crush her more than the impact of taking her to Disney World could possibly do.
Right.
Right. So I jumped on the line, and a thought just came to me, bro. And it was these two things. This is where it all started. It was one shirt, one idea.
That's all it takes is one.
Jumped onto rushordertees.com. I went on Google, make a shirt fast.
Right.
Rush Order Tees comes up right on the top. Clicked on it, designed the shirt, and I wanted to put American flag on the sleeve. That was a thought right from the beginning. So
Right.
I used their
Which I love
website.
that logo, by the way.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. A lot of thought has gone into each one, and some, it's amazing how they just came to me. Like these, they just came to me instantly.
Right.
It's powerful. So with their website, when you go to put something on the sleeve, they have to do a review process. That's how their site's set up. So they messaged me back in the chat, and they said that they couldn't make the shirt.
And why is that?
I asked them the same thing.
I
That
mean,
was the same thing that I said, because I was like, what's so bad about the shirt, right? It had God made man and woman. It had
Freedom of speech.
Yeah,
I mean,
where's Walt on the back and the American flag? I said, it can't be the American flag, not in America, right? They can't be saying that's bad. Where's Walt? There's nothing bad about that. Can't be the God made. I mean, I don't understand what that is.
Right.
They said it was because they didn't want to ostracize a specific individual part of your group.
Wow.
So I guess they were referring to this, you know, or maybe it was Disney. Maybe they were afraid to go up and make that stance and it come back that they made the shirt. And I could have stopped there. You know, I could have said, oh, well, it was a good idea. I'll just go to Disney and, you know, I'll be upset and I'll just take my money and whatever. But, you know, knowing where we know each other in the industry that we were in for years together, I knew a contact. You know, you got a guy, right? So I called my guy. It was in the logo industry for pens and this and whatnot. I told him my idea, and he said, yeah, I can make it happen. He said, how soon? I said, I need it in 3 days, man.
Wow.
Said, wow, yeah, exactly what he said.
That's quick.
So, you know, with everything, there's a price you got to pay, you know. So I had to pay an extra rush charge, and I thought to myself, this is the least amount of money that I'm going to spend because I'm going to Disney for a week. So let me make it happen. So, yeah, got the shirts made, man. Went to Disney. My wife was terrified, didn't know what the outcome was going to be. Wore them in that day. The response was amazing. You know,
good positive responses.
Man, powerful. It really inspired me to see that so many people, and I'm not talking about a certain demographic or age. It was across all avenues, from teenagers to people in their 60s and 70s, white, black, Hispanic, Asian, it didn't matter, men, women, didn't matter. And what surprised me, and I felt so positive about it, was it wasn't just the visitors, it was the workers. There was Disney workers that were saying, I love your shirt.
So let me ask you this. I mean, walking around Disney, how was your experience wearing your t-shirt?
Surprisingly, it was amazing. You know, my wife was a little terrified about it at first. She thought they were going to throw us out because this was in the height. I mean, this was before anybody really came out and acted or did anything, you know. We were there in the thick of it. So
anybody come up to you?
A lot. I would say a minimum of probably 50, 60 at the first park. And I wore the shirt within the first few hours. And it was amazing because there was people from different demographics, different ages, from teenagers to older people, white, black, Asian, men, women. It did not matter.
Well, that's good. I mean, that just shows you, like you said, it doesn't matter where you come from. I mean, they understand. You know, the message is there.
And that's what drew me so much, you know. But even at that point, I mean, I had people come up to me, shake my hand, tap me on the shoulder, not to mention the hundreds of smirks and smiles as I'm walking through Disney with the stroller, you know.
Mask on?
No mask on.
Okay,
no,
good.
definitely no mask on. And yeah, so they would just give me that. I mean, people coming out of line as I'm standing and going on the carousel, the guys coming up and saying, man, love your shirt, thanks. But really what led this from just me making a shirt and making a statement as a father to realizing that this is a brand and a message that has to come out there is leaving the park. So,
I mean, I feel like you're not just another t-shirt company. I mean, there's a message behind your company as well.
Absolutely. You know? This is so much more than merch. You know, you go online today and there's merch shops everywhere. Anybody can make a shirt and do it through Shopify and use some drop shipping service to throw it out there, and it costs them nothing. That's the world we live in.
Being on your website, super user friendly. I mean, that was easy to purchase this one.
I appreciate that.
Where's Walt? I'm from Orlando, so you know I love Disney, so love representing that.
No doubt.
But other than that, man, I mean, that's you guys are doing a phenomenal job. And what's in for the future? I mean, what do we got?
So God's just leading this, man. So let me dial back. I appreciate the support. Love that. Glad you see the message. And so leaving the park that night, 8:15 at night, we're exhausted. Anybody that's been to Disney, you're just ready to get out of it.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I get a tap on the shoulder from a gentleman, and I look up. This guy in his upper 60s, maybe early 70s. He's wearing a U.S. Marine Corps hat, and he had his hand outstretched, and he said, man, I had to come over and shake your hand. Thank you for being strong enough to wear that shirt and saying what needs to be said in these times.
That's powerful.
That's powerful, but even what's more powerful is he went back and got in his wheelchair.
So he stood up, came to shake your hand.
A U.S. Marine Corps vet.
That's
out
awesome.
Out of his wheelchair to come shake my hand for wearing a shirt. And I realized that, you know, all that praise I got during the day was great, but this is a guy that served his country and fought for us and probably lost a lot of brothers.
Of course.
You know, sacrificed so much. He's in a wheelchair.
Right.
You know? And he stood up to shake my hand for wearing a stinking T-shirt in America, where we're supposed to be free.
Right.
You know, and I'm thankful for the right to be able to do that, my freedom of speech, and for what they've done so much to give us that right.
Absolutely.
And I said, if you know they want to put on the news that we're not at war, we're not in an active war anywhere, even though we're funneling billions of dollars overseas to Ukraine, but that's another story.
Definitely another one. We'll get to that.
Yeah. So yeah, he And it hit me that, you know, we're in the biggest spiritual war that we're ever going to face as a nation.
Right.
And if we don't stand up and do something now, what type of father am I to my children when I'm trying to bring them to the most magical place on earth in a country that's being destroyed at its core? So it hit me, man. We're walking back to the car, me and my wife, and she was like, you know, you got a lot of praise today, but that was powerful. And I said, did you feel that?
That one day.
That was the first day. That was the first day of the week.
That's what I'm saying. One day at Disney.
One day.
And
we
it's
had
just
5 days planned. So I had to buy 24 of these shirts in order to get them made in time. There's a cost for everything, you know? So my wife said, I'm going to wear a shirt too.
Right.
So she wore a shirt to Epcot, Animal Kingdom with me, different days. And the response just grew. More women applauded because my wife was wearing it. And I said, you know what? We need to unify and just stand up together.
Absolutely.
And if we stand up as individuals, we the people can make a difference. And if we the people don't stand up and do what our founding fathers fought for and all the men after it, we're lost, man. And what are we doing?
Right.
So that's where this all came from, man. So I took that one shirt idea. This was the front. That was the back. Flipped it around and made two. And I said, well, I can't just come out with two shirts.
Right.
So you got to come out with a couple more. I had 4 more designs that came to me, right? My One Nation Under God, my Parents' Rights Matter, my God Over Everything, and just took them in 6. I said, well, how many am I going to make? I took that number and I multiplied it by 18. Excuse me. I say 18 because I remember when I got married, you know, we're Jewish by birthright, you know, in faith. And my father-in-law said, you always give in multiples of 18 in a religion because it's the number of life. It's power, you know. So you give for life, you know. So I took 6 and multiplied by 18, it was 144. That's how many. So I took that 144, I divided over the 6 designs. That's what I started with. And that's when you were one of my first customers that believed in the shirt, saw the message, and bought the shirt. And I appreciate the props on the website.
Of course, man. Absolutely.
I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that. I made that site all by myself. I
And we
hosted
see
on
it.
my own server.
We see it.
You know, don't use Shopify and those big corporations. And the shirts I do, I went back to the guy that helped me make the first one. I told him my idea. He says, great. Sounds like you're in the apparel business. I'm too busy to help you. So I learned what you got to do to get in the apparel business. So everything that we do is done locally right here in South Florida, in Palm Beach County. You know, I stretch over to Broward a little bit because you got to use your resources.
Of course.
But it's all in Florida. The printing, the wholesale warehouse is here. Everything is right by us. And it made me realize that how many other times in life is something right there within our reach and we don't reach for it.
Right.
You know, because it's just there, but we don't know it's there.
So powerful, man.
So
Gives me the goosebumps.
Yeah, and that's God, bro.
Yeah.
That's God. You know, that's that feeling that they don't want you to talk about. You know, in society today, when you talk about God and you get those goosebumps, we don't want to show that.
Right,
we
right.
Don't show that.
Yeah.
So I thought about how everywhere as a nation, they want to remove God's presence. You know, our nation was founded on Judaic Christian values, right? There's 2 there. Most people think it's 1, it's 2.
Okay.
And what that means in my eyes is that 2 people came together with different views, put God at the center, and our nation flourished because of that. You know, when they put God in the center.
Right.
Way back when. They stood up together, they came together, they unified with God.
Right.
And I think if we do that now, we have to do that. Not if I think, I know if we don't stand up and do that now, as soldiers of America who stand for American values, that's the only option. It's the only choice. He's the only unifier. Everybody wants to run and say, oh, I'm going to unify the nation. I'm going to do this. You can't, man. You can't unify. God's the unifier. He's the only one that can do it.
Well said,
So that's
man.
where this comes in from, man. So it's just putting God in the forefront, letting him take the lead. And since that time, he has just speed-lined me in the last not even 120 days.
When they say the stars line up, you know, that's
No
they
doubt.
line up.
No, they line up, you know, and if you, I'm glad you brought that up because not too long ago, the moon and the stars just aligned.
Right.
If you look at NASA, they put that on the news, the moon and the stars align. And if you think back to biblical times, the wise men, they followed the stars, right? So they were astronomers. So I think it's all written in the stars.
Something's coming together.
Something powerful. Did you say you believe that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So God is the creator of it all, right? So if we're made in his image, aren't we then 2 great creators?
Right.
We just have to release that. And
God
tune
made.
in. God made, man. This is where it all started, bro.
That's power right there. You
and the
see
thing
it.
about this is like, you know, if you think about the brand and you think about the story of life, this is how life started. The brand just so happened to start the same way.
Let me ask you this. Did you ever see yourself doing this?
Never in my life I ever even thought about owning an apparel company or shirts. I've always been picky on what I wore.
Okay.
I'm very precise on what I wear.
We know this. We do know this.
Yeah, you know, in our job, they tried to make a rule,
Right.
where they make us wear these 100% cotton.
Right.
And I applaud you for wearing it, bro.
105-degree weather.
You're a trooper, bro. Because I wouldn't do it, you know?
Double shirt.
You know, I had cancer for 10 years. You know, I got it when I was younger. And I used the cancer card on that, bro. I'm proud to admit it.
Yeah.
You know, they said that, hey, you got to wear the shirt. I said, man, I can't. I sweat too bad. It's South Florida. I took cancer medicine. I sweat way too bad.
Don't blame you.
So the owner of the company, he was respectful enough, and he's a good business owner, that he stopped in the busyness of the hundreds of employees he had to listen to what I had to say. And he allowed me to wear my own shirts. And because of that, that's how I had the contact to get these shirts made. So had I not have stood up and done that, what was that, 5, 6 years ago?
Easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention, was I comfortable? A lot more comfortable in the last 6 years by doing that.
You can't breathe.
It led me to this, you know? So that's why we can go through our life and be like, why is this happening? Or I had that happen to me as young growing up, man. You know, my upbringing wasn't the ideal upbringing, you know, I can say that. And I would often say, why is this happening to me?
Right.
You know? And throughout life, you know, when I got the cancer, why is this happening to me? Different struggles. Right now, where I am right now, I know why all that happened. Because it gave me the confidence to know that no matter what comes to me, that God has me, and if I just tune into Him, He's going to guide my steps. And it's just pushing and standing up for the right thing. So if you feel something is right in your heart, and you know that it's right, and it's not for egotistical, put all those things aside, you know, and you're doing it for the right thing, then you should just do it. And I tell that to anybody out there. You know, if you're faced with something and you truly feel in your spirit that's the right thing, go for it.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Absolutely.
You know, and make sure it's in the right reason. And you always gotta,
Right.
you know, like this brand. Before I even sold my first shirt, I knew that I wanted to build it on biblical principles, right? And biblical across all avenues. You know.
I feel like that separates you, though.
For
You know, it's not just a logo on a T-shirt. I mean, you have messages, you have ways of showing people, you know, and obviously representing it, and a logo on a shirt can go a long way, you know.
Absolutely.
And that's, I mean, look at God Made, and other shirts that you brought to the table as well, you know.
Yeah. I appreciate that. You know,
That's awesome.
It was all about putting God's name back out into society. You know, they want to remove it in every way. You know, it's on the dollar bill, right?
Yeah.
But what's happened since COVID? There's less cash. Now there's a coin shortage. All of a sudden, all the coins disappear with COVID, right? But guess what's on those coins? God's name. The dollar bill, God's name.
Under God.
Yeah, in God we trust, you know? And they want to remove all that and go digital, and there's crypto, and there's all types of stuff. And I get it, technology's moving. But what they're doing behind the scenes is they're removing God's energy. So when COVID came out, they said, you can't go to place of worship. You can close the churches now. Now you can go to the liquor store, you can go buy a lotto ticket.
Of course you
but
can.
you can't go and talk about God in a place of worship, because that's just dangerous, right? So even people out in public, they want to shut it down. So I think they're constantly removing God's name, and whether you believe in God or not, I believe in the power of ourselves as created in His image and the power of the spoken word. And when I wear a shirt that says God, whether you think about God, believe in God or not, when I walk by you and you see and you say His name in your head,
Absolutely.
I just made you say God's name.
That's it.
So I just put that energy out into the universe, and I use your power to do it.
Right.
And I think today the media and a lot of people are using our God-given energy and ability to put energy into the wrong things. And they're sucking that energy from us. And if we come together and give that energy to God, and that's what we need.
Absolutely.
And that's really the backing behind it. So in building this brand on biblical principles, I said, I'm going to tie 10% off top. I'm not going to do it in the logical way, in the numeral way, like the accountant will tell you and say, oh, after you do your deduction and after you take your fees out, then you tie that 10%. No, man, 10% off top.
Good.
That shirt's $27.85, $2.79, because I round up, I never short anybody. $2.79 of that shirt goes directly to a nonprofit. So we partner with a local nonprofit, don't receive any money from the federal government, Wounded Veteran Relief Fund.
Perfect.
They help disabled vets in Florida. Not only do they give them financial assistance in these hardships, but they're the only one in the nation that does dental work.
One out of the whole nation.
That's
and
it.
only one does
only
it.
One.
Wow.
Local right here, started by a general in the military, felt the need because they wanted to get vets back to work. Well, a lot of vets, their teeth are messed up from the exposure to just different stuff. And they didn't have the confidence to go in for a job, not to mention their breath smell because they had bad dental work.
Right.
Dental work's expensive. So they started a network, put it together. They did 60, this is a year and a half old, this part of it. Now they've been around for about 10 years doing the funding, but with the dental, it's only about a year and a half old. Put 60 smiles on vets' faces. They're putting smiles back on faces.
So already 60.
60. Last year, 150 right now so far this year.
And that's just the start of it.
That's just the start of it. And with Stand Up Now Apparel, 10% of everything we do going to them, that's going to lead to that. Now, from that, you know, when I built this, it was standing up and putting that money to people that are standing up for American values. And that's on all fronts, right? So I know in the world we live in, we're in a governmental system, you know, it's politically bound. So if there are groups and organizations out there that are standing up for real traditional American values, it doesn't matter what side, if they're truly standing up for real American values, we will help those groups once we've spoken to them, gone down to the core, and really met with them if it's felt led. And that happened in a new event that we just went to.
Okay. That was in Tampa, right?
That was in Tampa. Yeah, that was awesome, man. God led us there in less than 90 days, man. I mean, this wasn't even out 90 days.
Wow.
And we were led to go to Turning Point USA Student Action Summit.
That's huge.
Bro, it's huge. It's monumental. It's like the second or first largest gathering for teen youth in the nation.
Right.
And I was at a small event that someone on Instagram, when I had 90 followers, reached out to me and said, and he's a brother of God, you know, this young kid is 19 years old, cerebral palsy, but a fighter and an amazing individual, right? He invited me to go to his small little group that he was doing. I went there. From that event, got led by signs from God. I won't dive into that. They were there. I can explain it another time. They were there. It led me to Turning Point USA, and I said, you know what? I have to be here. I had 5 weeks to prepare. Never thought about doing this. I had 6 shirt designs and online. That's it. From that, we have 12 designs online, hats, stickers, wristbands, all the merch. Went there, an amazing response, man. And God from that is just connecting us and leading us where he wants us to go because he knows what this is about. And people that see it and hear it, they know, and they just want to spread his name.
He pointed you in the right direction.
He'll continue to do that.
You walked.
Yeah. and we stood up in faith, and the nation needs to do that. Right. If we as a nation turn to God, he's going to do that same thing for the nation, man.
I love it, man.
And that's what this is about, bro.
I love the energy. Tell us, where can we get your apparel?
All my shirts are available on my website, www.standupnowapparel.com. I'm also on Instagram, very active on Instagram. That's a big platform.
Love the videos, by the way.
Thanks, appreciate that. New to social media, so learning the content. I know it's a new arena, but I think it's developing nicely. Stand Up Now 22, that's the year we started. I think now's the time. Stand Up Now Apparel on there. I'm also on Facebook. You got to use that. Not a big fan. But I'm also getting into Rumble, Getter, and things like that. But really,
across the table.
standupnowapparel.com. That's the website.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate everything today. Phenomenal. Love what you guys got in store. Love to see the future. You know I'm part of it, so love to see you grow.
No doubt, man.
Thanks for coming out.
Come,
appreciate everything.
We're going to do this again. We're going to chop this up next time.
Let's do it, man.
We're going to make this a thing.
Absolute.